Alrighty, what's going on, everyone? We are back for another live stream. This time we're going to do a kind of a midweek, it's a little bit past midway, but we're going to do a midweek recap for the IPF Open Worlds, go over what our fantasy teams are doing. So, Bill, I'm going to kick it off to you. Let me know kind of like how much you've been watching, or have you not been watching much, while I check and see that the YouTube and the Twitch are working.
Yeah, I mean, basically, my kids get up at like 5:30 in the morning, so I've been able to catch pretty much a lot of most of everything kind of thing, right? So I mean, the meets have been starting at about 6 a.m. every day Eastern Standard Time, so I've been able to kind of be back and forth on my phone, whatever, while the making breakfast and blah blah blah, chasing them around. So it's not been too bad. And obviously, we've been chatting back and forth and keeping each other kind of informed of what's going on, which is good too.
Yeah, it looks like stream is going well on YouTube. Let me check Twitch real quick. Looks like that one's going too. We got about 69 viewers on YouTube, 420 viewers on Twitch. It's going well.
Nice.
So let me pull up my screen and we'll get right into it. We won't waste any more people's precious time. So for those of you, if you're on YouTube, there's links in the description to get to the GoodLift page, the direct link to the YouTube live stream. I think also the IPF page, also Bill's Instagram, my Instagram if you want to follow us. But if you're on Twitch or if you don't want to look at the description, you can go to powerlifting.sport, which is what I have here. And then here you have the direct link to the Olympic channel if you want to go watch on Olympic channel live, and you can also watch the replays on there. So for people not knowing where to find Olympic channel, you just go to the IPF website, powerlifting.sport, and boom, right there you can see our boy Chucky. And then you can see here coming up 105s, 120s, 84, 84 plus. And then here you can see the replays of the previous sessions. And if you like it the way Bill and I like it, where you can watch the scoreboard at the same time, instead go to goodlift.info. So that way you can watch the video and the scoreboard at the same time. So if you come over to live,
Is that Testov?
I don't know.
I think it was, bro.
He came back right after his suspension. So then you have the timetable here, you have the nominations, you have the link to Olympic channel, you have the results that currently happen, and then here's where you would go into the room. I'll actually pull it up since it's here. Then you get the little video in the top left, and then the scoreboard here, so you can actually watch all the attempts, the body weights, lot numbers, all that stuff like that. So that's the better way for those you're interested in that. So let's get right into it. Let me pull up the score sheets. And let's pull up the fantasy team draft, and we'll get started with the first one. Should be an easy one. What you think about the 59s?
Yeah, so I actually missed most of the 59s. I was able to catch a lot of the 66s. They were in the same session, but just every time I kind of switched back, the 59s were done and the 69s were squatting or benching or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, no surprise there. Sergey Fedosienko wins again. The guy's pretty much unbeatable in that weight class. It's rough to see that we had two bombs there and two guys that we both know in Christopher Tran and Ivan Cancel from Puerto Rico, which kind of sucks. But so Franklin Leon from Ecuador, another really cool guy. Know him from the Raw Worlds. He comes in silver, which is nice. But again, he's 50 plus kilos away from Fedo in first place. Like the spread there is pretty impressive, right? So you get like 747 to like two guys in the 690s and then two guys in the 590s. It's like, that's pretty good disparaging there from those guys. But obviously with Tran and Ivan both would have been in medal contention for sure there. So that would have at least spiced it up a little bit on top.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ivan was like somewhere around 685 nominated for the higher weight class, and then like 625, 635 in this weight class. And I forget where Chris was nominated, but maybe I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, I kind of watched a little bit of it. I went back and looked. So Chris was at 655. So yeah, they would have been there in the 600 plus, but yeah, it still would have been a gap there. So I went back and watched a couple of the clips. Like I watched Ivan's opener was like, kind of like a max attempt. So I was lucky that he got it in. And then unfortunately missed those two. I did not watch his bench to see what the issue was. I didn't get a chance to go back if it was like a butt up or if he just couldn't lock it out. And then Chris Tran, it just seemed like he had issues with getting down to depth. And then on the third one, he got the 2 white lights. And then during the rest of the period or whatever, maybe during a break, because I kind of skimmed ahead, I don't know when they officially announced it, they overturned it to a no lift. So then, boom, you thought you were in, you got 2 white lights, you come back and get it. And then they say, nope, you're out. But he at least came back and got a silver medal on the deadlift. So at least he got a medal there. But
Yeah,
like
so
you
at
said,
the World Championships, just so everyone knows that, like, if you do bomb out in one discipline, you can actually still win medals in the other disciplines because they give medals out for the top three. So it does give people the incentive to stay in the meet and actually try. And you might actually see a lot more YOLOs that way because they're not worried about their total anymore, especially in the equip lifting. So you might see them throw something on there just to kind of snag a medal at the end, which is kind of fun too to watch.
yeah, and for us in the US, it doesn't really matter, but for some of these other countries, they may get like money for getting a medal in an individual lift.
Right.
So for some of those other countries, they may nominate specific people, or like you said, or at the point where they bomb out, they may still go for that individual medal to at least get some kind of recognition, some kind of funding for their team or for themselves. Plus, having a medal. Sometimes they give you the participation medal, sometimes they don't. So it's nice to at least come away with something. You spent all this money to go to Worlds, at least you got a medal. But yeah, it's interesting. How long is Fedosienko going to be on top? Like, at what point does age get him, or someone new come, or he just gives up and rides off into the sunset?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, because he's gonna be in the Masters next year. So he'll, then destroy all the Masters world records next year. But like, it's such a weird weight class because, like, you're talking about the smaller guys, and normally you see guys, at least in America, you do, right, where they basically age out of that class by just gaining weight and getting, well, yeah, as they train more and more, they gain weight and they end up going up a class. Where Fedosienko is, I mean, if he's 4'10", that's like pushing it, man. He's like a short dude. You stand next to him, and like I'm 6 foot, and I feel like a giant next to him, for God's sakes. I couldn't imagine, like, some of these other bigger super heavyweight guys like Joe Cap next to him or whatever. It's, is like 3 times the size of him basically, which is crazy.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like even like Jonathan Garcia, he's like sub 5 feet, but he still cuts down to the 66s. Like he's
Right.
that like massive. So it's
Yeah.
hard to find someone who can stay that low. Like it looks like Chris Strand probably cuts some being 58.85, and he seems on the taller side. I even went up to 66s and came back down. So like he cut too. I don't know about these rest of the guys, but then we have our guys like like Cole Metz and all those guys who like stick around for a couple of years and then eventually have to go up. So
Yeah, like the college guys, basically, right? I mean,
yeah.
the Dalton McCoes and whatever. But the interesting thing about Fedosienko too is that he'll cut at least twice a year to that weight class, right? For Classic Worlds and Equip Worlds. And honestly, I don't really think he does much in even when he does like, he doesn't really do Europeans that much. But even when he does like the Russian nationals, I believe he still cuts down to that too. So I don't think he really has that big of a problem because it's all 59 on his sheet basically. So
Yeah, like 2016, 59.8.
right, and that was for like some like local meet, whatever, in Russia. So, I don't think he really has that big of a problem cutting down to the weight.
Yeah, imagine like 20 years ago, he was 51.
Jesus,
But
that's crazy. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, like in 2021, he's done, one, two, three meets and he cut down. Even in like 2019, he did 1, 2, 3, 4 meets and cut down. So yeah, it
yeah.
doesn't seem like it's an issue.
Or he's just been doing it for so long, he's just so good at it. They just,
The only thing that holds him back is deadlift grip. Is like
yeah,
trying to get to that 275, but
yeah.
he'll take
I mean,
262 and call it a day.
throw straps on the guys, no
Yeah.
problem. I've seen it in the warm up room after the meet. Like he'll go out there, he missed like 255 in the meet or something like that. Then he goes out, loads up 275 in the warm up room with straps after the meet, and no problem off the ground.
So you got the easy 12 points on that. Unfortunately, I only got 8 on that one because this guy, for whatever reason, Lin Yi Chun, took a 10-kilo jump, not needing it necessarily, and then missed it twice. And then the other guy, Franklin Leon, caught him.
Yeah, it's
Like
interesting, right? I mean,
he
just bad attempt selection there. He's ahead after opening deadlifts, and then decides to take bigger than he needs jump, And, oh, no problem. I got 250 in the bag. And then guess what? Bronze medal, homie.
Bronze medal. Franklin Leon sneaking in there.
Yeah.
Let's go to 47s. Did you watch any of that one?
Yeah. This one actually was no surprise again. I mean, Fukushima is a stud in that class. Pretty much her and Wadiri are the ones that kind of go back and forth. So, she's an M2 and she's just basically smashed all the M2 records. Not surprising there. But the Polish lifter, Zuzana, was pretty impressive, even after missing a few. It was a little shaky start with the squats, but came back and really, it was impressive in that class, especially being, what is she, 21, 22 years old, something like that. So, she could possibly be the future of that class too. And then the Ukrainian who cut down, right? Was it Shlapko?
Yeah.
Yeah, she just, for whatever reason, I guess from cutting down, her deadlifts were just not there. Like her opener was tough. And then pretty much after that, she took a 5 kilo jump and then a 2 kilo jump in her deadlift. So she pretty much was just fighting off the fourth place person from France to just hold on to that world game slot on third place. But I really expected Shlapko to, based off of her deadlifts as a 66, to actually take over second place once the flight started. But didn't happen. She was just fried.
Yeah, trying to pull up real quick what she was nominated at. Yeah, 160.
Yeah.
And then let's see if she's done any more. She's done 170.
Right.
So yeah, you would think like that wouldn't take a hit, but I mean, yeah, at least she made the weight and she made 8 for 9. But yeah, when I saw that too, I was like, she's not even trying to go for second at that point. She was also like, yeah, I'll just take my third place.
But she couldn't. It was like that's what was there though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's no 160 was not going to happen.
And it's it's interesting seeing Yukako Fukushima as like M2, and then you have like the junior, and then the person who just aged out of juniors right below them, and she's like totaling 30 kilos more than them, and like everything was a world record. Like, oh, they're like on the live stream, like, oh, opening up with a Masters 2 world record, oh, another world record, another world record, another world record, and then I believe this was like the total, even though it wasn't a deadlift. And then finally, Joe Whiteley's like, okay, now finally we got another one on the deadlift. Right. She's got all of them. So that was pretty ridiculous. And another one that doesn't seem like she needs to cut much weight, 45.9. Looks like she's easily in. Yeah. So depending on if the other lifters come back, she might be dominating this class as well. I didn't really watch too much of the other attempts other than, I saw some of Shlapko's deadlifts, and then just looking at Yukako's attempts. Pretty ridiculous. And then interesting here, kind of goes to like what we were just saying, that potentially like this lifter, is 8th place on squat, 8th place on bench, their last place. They're not worried about the total, and they try to go big on the deadlift to try and get into that medal contention, because they missed 150 twice. They didn't care about staying in the meet. They're like, screw it, we're going 162.5 to try and like steal a medal from someone, depending on who missed and who made. Yeah. And end up bombing out because of it. But at that point, they may have not cared. They're like, let's just get a medal for the country.
Right. I think the funny part is too, like if you look at it, so third place was France, right, in the deadlift, 162, and the Taipei lifter weighed more than her.
So I guess.
So that wouldn't even have been for a medal. It would have been for 4th place in the deadlift.
Well, like I guess the only possible reasoning here would have been that this lifter went first, correct? But then this lifter hadn't gone yet. So they were maybe thinking like, Denmark would miss.
Yeah. You're right. Sorry. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep.
And then Zuzana missed the 162. So and even like Yukako was 167, so she could have missed. So potentially they're like hoping, what if 3 people miss and we make it? Like YOLO.
Right. So yeah, she was actually pulling for silver at that point. Right.
Yeah. Right. So you did better than me so far, where you picked the second place person correct. I sucked it up on the 59s, but we'll move on to the 66s.
Yeah, man, I think this was the best class so far.
That was
competitive wise. This came down to the wire. It was really cool. So basically going into deadlifts, the top 5 guys were all in striking distance of winning this thing. And I believe like all of their second deadlifts kind of put them all, or all would have put them all in first place, because as it kind of went back and forth that way. It was crazy. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see the entire sheet, but yeah, just like
yeah,
here, first to well, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 was only 20 kilo difference.
yeah,
And then then you say like, okay, this was 787, this was 770,
yeah, yeah.
772,
That's the thing, right? You minus 20,
780.
right? Because they started at 270.
Oh, you're going to open. I was going the second attempt, but
Yeah, so I'm saying once the fifth place guy pulled, the first place guy didn't pull yet his second attempt, so he went into first place, and then they kind of jumped over each other like that. It was like, oh, and this one's for the gold medal so far, and this one's for first place, this one's for first, but yeah, it was cool. And yeah, just you make attempts and you win these things. It's amazing what happens, right? I mean, like, um, you sometimes you play it smart and you don't actually worry about like going for the gusto, and the guys that made those deadlift attempts, end up first and second place. Not surprising. And everyone else missed a deadlift and they ended up, third through eighth or whatever. So it's good seeing Glide Kick win again. I mean, the guy's a stud. Former Raw World Champion and obviously reigning Equip World Champion. Him and Fedosienko. I mean, the fact that they can do both each year and be fairly dominant. I mean, Glide Kicks obviously hasn't been as dominant in the classic with Pana and Opoko in the previous two, but I mean, yeah, just really impressive. And then Russia has this other kid. He's a junior lifter now. His name's Ilya Markov, I believe. And look out for him in the raw and the equip. The kid is amazingly good. I remember seeing him in Sweden when he was a sub junior, and he has a belt that he like smacks himself in the face with before he goes out and lift. I was like, whoa, this kid's something interesting here. But
I
yeah,
was
so
like,
he's competing at Euros coming up. So
yeah.
I'm excited to see what he does there. And again, he's 20 years old. So he's definitely one to look out for, like I said, in the equipped and in the classic coming up.
Ilya
Look at
Marishev.
that. Look at that baby face. But actually, there's a funny story. At one of the Russian meets, his father put Coca-Cola on his back for bench press to try to make it sticky. And then he got caught and like lost the results from that. And then basically what happened was the Russian Federation tried to ban him. So then he said, fine, I'm just going to move to Belarus and compete for them. And they were like, oh, okay, well, we'll just make it a 2-month suspension, but you come back, because he's like the future of their smaller lifter kind of thing. So basically called their bluff, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it was just, it was kind of like the whole stick 'em thing with the USAPL Nationals, a couple months ago.
he gave him that death stare. He says, "I'm going to Belarus," and they're like, "All right, calm down, man, calm down."
But yeah, I mean, a 300 kilo deadlift for a 20-year-old 66 kilo lifter is crazy. And he just popped up from the 59s too. So he's still getting stronger because he's gaining the weight, which is cool.
It's interesting seeing El Baguetti, the Masters one lifter, like makes 3 squats, gets the silver, makes 3 benches. He's got the biggest deadlift. He makes 2 deadlifts, and then he just missed that 2.5 kilos more that he needed to pop up into second place, and he ends up in third. But yeah, like you said, like Sergey Gladkik's a beast, and he's just so strong. He only gets 1 squat in, misses his opener bench, and then somehow still pulls off the win.
Yeah. Interesting thing with El Baguetti too, is that if I'm not mistaken, he's normally a hook grip puller, and he switched over to mixed grip for this meet. So his deadlift was down a little bit, but at least he held on to it. Because normally he misses on his grip, right? He just slips out of his hands. Where now this one, it was actually a strength thing on that 310. He was just fried after the 307.
And this is one of those deadly sessions where 3 people bombed out on squat,
Yeah,
and only one of them went up in weight. The other 2 just repeat every time and just couldn't get anything in. I didn't watch them, but I know Antti Savalainen is like a longtime competitor.
right. Yeah, that's an interesting thing with equip lifting, right? So like pretty much if you don't hit depth in a classic meet, 95% of the time you're gonna, basically repeat that same weight. There's some people that kind of will bump up whatever, but in equip meet, sometimes you need that extra weight to kind of help you get the depth a little bit better. So you'll see it pretty often where sometimes someone will 300 kilo opener and they're a little bit high, so they might bump it to 310 on their second, and then it looks even easier than the first one because that extra little bit of weight helps them get out of the hole, gets deeper in the hole, kind of thing. So that's not not abnormal for that to happen in the equipped side.
Yeah, and then going to a fantasy again, you picked the second place right. Shea Sunting like just pulls it off. Like, like you said, it's a battle to the very end, and then Yusuke does his 255, so he's locked in. Then Sergey does his 290, he's locked in. Shea decides to just go for second, not pull big for first. And then my boy El Baguetti couldn't steal his points away from you.
Yeah, well, Shea was basically locking in the world's game slot, right? So top three
Yeah,
there. So he jumps over the Japanese lifter that had the bench world record. So he
yeah.
jumps over him. So yeah, so let's go back to that real quick. I really hate that 222 world record, right? Like at that point, go for 223. So it makes when you get on the total at the end, it makes that person go up another 2.5 kilos from there. I mean, again, if that's all he had, and like he thinks this is the number, whatever. But like, if you're competing for a spot at World Games, you're competing for a World Championship, just that little bit of a tweak right there. If he was able to bench 1 more kilo, then all of a sudden he's sitting in third place and going to World Games. Just that little bit of change, that 2.2 pounds, he would have had to pull bench more. It makes the difference because El Baguetti clearly missed that 310, so he was locked in at 780.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting if he went uh 223, like you said, 1 kilo more, he'd be at 780.5. It'd be interesting if Shea would have gone for 782.5, or if he still would have gone for the 780 and just end up in third, and El Bighetti would have been the one in fourth.
Right. Yeah. I
So he
mean,
could have potentially been second if
yeah.
like Shea
Right.
played it safe.
Yeah. So the 300 300 deadlift by Shea was pretty. It's not easy, but like he had more in the tank for sure.
Yeah.
But again, you add a little bit more weight, and that bar slips out of your hands, and then all of a sudden you're at home watching World Games instead of being there. So
Yeah, it's like interesting. Like the whole idea of chipping the half a kilo is like you only go up half a kilo, so the person has to go up 2.5. So you're kind of like gaining 2 kilos. Here, you're going up 2 kilos to make them go up 2.5. So you're really only gaining like half. You're making like half a kilo more difficult for them. So at that point, yeah, can you maybe go up another 1 kilo and make it more difficult for them? Now they have to go up like that extra bit.
right.
But I guess maybe they just want to do the minimum amount and then figure out what to do from there.
But you know what? He's got a world record, and I don't. So more power to him.
We go to interesting one now. 76 kilo class. Like I was like fairly confident, but then I was like, and then you were like, yo, I'm super confident.
Yeah, I just figured it was her year. It's been rough going back and forth, and I don't know. And then literally exactly what you said last week happened. You're like, well, if she squats only 240, she's in trouble. And guess what? She squatted 240. She was in trouble.
Yeah, she was nominated 642 and ended up with 630. Yeah, based off of that 252 going down to 240.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so poor Marta ends up in second place again. Basically, she's been on the podium a number of times, but it's been silver and bronze constantly for her. She was been stuck in a class with Priscilla Ribic and Anna Castellane for forever, basically. So in that 72 class, and then of course then Kelsey comes along afterwards, and then she's a beast in that class. So that makes it really tough on her. But now, yeah, now, I mean, I don't even know how to say her name. Is it Agata?
Yeah,
Um,
got Sitko, I guess.
yeah, but again, she's another, you know, extremely young lifter who's literally just out of the sub juniors and goes out and smashes the sub junior world record. and now she's sitting pretty in gold position, and she wins pretty handily by 20 kilos over someone really, really seasoned like Marta.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at the scoreboard that she just aged into juniors. So here, Chloe pulls the junior world record deadlift, and then right after, Agata does 225,
Yeah,
and then Agata gets the 230. And I guess Chloe at that point was focusing on third place, so she didn't go up anymore for the world record. She was just trying to go for third place, and she didn't get it. So Agata gets stuck against the world record. And down here, you have Elise Mikomagi, who's sub junior, and she gets the sub junior world record deadlift on the first and second. So you got some sub juniors and juniors in there battling it out with the open, and one of them got first place and one of them got fourth place. So that's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, what I didn't watch all of it, but what I did see was um for example, Chloe going, obviously we're looking at it now. Chloe had to take some bigger jumps because she's new with equipment. So she jumps 12 and a half and then jumps 10, and she missed the 10, like kind of just like had difficulty touching, lost her arch and dumped it. So I don't know if she would have touched it less, like if 155, depending on how they jacked it and everything like that, whether she would have done it. But then you're like, man, that 5 kilos would have really helped at this point rather than be going that aggressive 10 kilos. But obviously now we're stepping back and seeing the scoreboard. At that point, they had no idea what was going to happen. And I believe there were some changes here with the openers where Marta went up from, I think, 230 to 240. Chloe went
right.
up, I think, from 205 to 212. So there were some changes there involved too. But that would have been, crazy. Like Chloe's like first year, I think maybe her second meet and equipped, she would have gotten that World Games spot, and she was like that close.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
Francesca from Italy, she ended up in third place. She went to pull the world record deadlift on her third attempt because she was already locked into third place and actually got above her knees. It was actually pretty darn close. So even if Chloe was able to just get over that, 610 total, 612 and a half, whatever, I don't think Francesca would have had a problem with like a 240 deadlift to keep her out of there. But yeah, I mean, but she still has to hold on to it and pull it and finish it kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, but actually the like I said, the world record attempt moved pretty decently, better than even the announcers expected. They were like, "Oh, that was actually pretty darn close."
Yeah, then I guess the other interesting part too is, like we said, Marta went up on her opener, and then she just lost her balance forward. So then she smartly repeated it, and then, like you said, she wants to win so badly that she would rather take the 20-kilo jump to try and pull for the win than just go for 251 or whatever for her world record deadlift. So
Right.
she took that shot at 260, and I came like a couple inches off the ground, if I remember correctly. And that was it. She didn't look too happy.
No, I'm sure she wasn't.
So, but back to work, I guess. She weighed a little bit light, 75.15. She made the world game spot, maybe because she can build on that squat a little bit. And then, she's got the deadlift in the bank. She's got more than 240, obviously.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
and then of course the Ukrainian who was probably ranked.
third.
Yeah, she was ranked pretty high. She should have been on the medal. She would have been on the podium most likely if she would have finished the meet. But yeah, she ended up bombing out. I mean, because she's coming up from the 72 class, so she's actually been getting stronger. But it was a rough day today for the Ukrainians. Let's put it that way. So
Yeah, like she was nominated, 245 and 160, and then she got 240 and missed the 160.
right. So yeah.
Uh,
So see here, she missed the 247 and a half on her second, and they actually bumped her up to 250 on her third squat, just to try to possibly get a little more weight on the bar to hit depth better, whatever it was. And then the bench did not go the way she planned.
yeah, I was trying to look up what Francesca did at Classic because, like, I think she competed. Yeah, so she got second.
Yeah.
So I was trying to remember. I was like, she did really well in the Classic. So she, got second. What was it, a month ago?
Right.
At this point, so she easily got second here a month ago at Classic, and then she comes now and she gets third in the Open, and now she's going to be going to World Games next year. So
Yeah. It's
pretty good there for Italy.
a good year for her for sure.
And I didn't see it either, but I know who Sherry Miles is. Unfortunately, she bombed out on squat, but she did a good job on her deadlift, and again got a medal there at the end.
Yeah, she's a great deadlifter. I know she competed at the Arnold a couple of weeks before this, the Arnold UK or whatever. Um, so again, maybe that was not a great idea, but again, I didn't see if it was depth or if she just couldn't stand up with the weight on the squat.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I got
believe she's fairly newish at equip lifting too. I think it's only been maybe 2 or 3 years. So
yeah. I mean, like if you look at the squat and bench press, she's not up with the numbers with the other people, but obviously her deadlift is dominant.
yeah.
So interesting. I got three golds right there, but you kept right there with me with the three silvers.
Yeah.
So we'll wait for the 84s tomorrow. So we'll jump to another interesting one, the 57s. That was a nice little battle there.
Yeah, this was quite interesting because the heavy favorite going into this just kind of didn't really show up. I mean, she, I hate to say this, but I really think her. So I'm talking about Kolesnik from the ROC. She missed her first two squats on depth, goes out there for her third, hits it no issues, but it really looked high to me. It really, really did. I was surprised it didn't get overturned. But again, so fine. She's in the meet. She goes out there, hits her bench opener, didn't look great, goes up 5 kilos, nothing on those two attempts. And then deadlift, she went out and literally the bar didn't leave the ground the whole time. It was just like she was just completely out of it. I don't know if she had a really rough cut or what it was. I mean, she weighed in at 55.8, so it definitely wasn't a rough cut. Maybe she was sick or something like that. I mean, I'm sure something will come out about it, but it was definitely not what anyone expected from her that day. And then the Brazilian Erica Bueno, sorry, who's got a massive subtotal, comes out and just set the house on fire, man. Um, you know, Masters world record squat, and she had a world record bench press, and then she just cruised onto the deadlifts and just kept herself ahead as much as she could to lock it in. So she ends up winning a gold medal. And then Kimberly Johnson from USVI, who is right there with this the whole time. She locked in her third place spot, and then she threw on, was it a 10-kilo jump or something like that? 12-kilo jump? I forget what it was. Yeah, 12
Yeah.
kilo for the gold medal. She said, screw second. I'm going for gold. And it was, fairly close too. I mean, it was pretty good. But yeah, so basically the top four women in this one were right there to the end for the medal spots, which was cool. Ellie Steele from Great Britain, she's been over to the Arnold a couple times to compete. So, met her a few times. She's done classic as well. She's good, very good bencher. But just, lacks a little bit in the deadlift. And then she ended up couldn't pull that little extra 5 kilos to hop into a medal spot at the end there, which sucks.
Yeah, it's interesting, like you said, with Koleshnik, like weighing in 55.85. Yeah, maybe she was sick. Maybe she had like COVID leading up or something like that because it seems light. It seems like maybe the equipment was loose or not training, whatever. Because she she did not look happy being there. It looked like her strength was just not there. Look at her nominations, and she's like nominated 200 and 152, and she's like struggling with 190. She gets the 195, but like you said, potentially high. And then she only gets 140, like doesn't even get 145. And then the reason potentially why the deadlift didn't come off the ground is I was looking at it, I was like, she's nominated at 190 and she's opening up with 185 on a bad day. Like, I don't know what their projected was, but at that point, maybe like you would have pulled down the numbers unless maybe they thought they could, sneak in a medal. But at that point, too, maybe you open up really light and just take a bigger jump or something.
Yeah,
So
because even the 180, I mean, I guess we'd have to look and see where the 185 would have put her in placing at that point. So maybe they're just hoping
at
that
that
like
point,
she would sneak onto the podium somehow and everyone else would miss, kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, on openers, it looks like it would have been second because this person got 190 and then everyone else is 182, 180,
No, I
180.
mean for the total. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah. So like what 335 plus 185. So 4 5 was it 520? So yeah, I mean that would have put her at least on the medal stand in the top three after openers. So maybe they were looking at that and saying like she doesn't feel great, so we'll try to get one in real quick and hope other people miss as well. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely a good battle. And even then, like, you're like, oh, Koleshnik might be out of it. Then she gets one to stay in the meet. You're like, okay, now it's like still a battle. She could potentially win. And then you yeah, she gets one bench, but you're like, hey, if she gets a deadlift, she's still right in there. So it was a battle not only with the top four that finished top four, but also Koleshnik until like, the very end could have snuck in there somewhere. So
Right.
definitely good battle. Erica Bueno killed it. Like I was not expecting that. Like she's nominated at 535. She's a Masters 1 lifter, and she just comes and blows the numbers up. Masters 1 world record squat, but then right after, Vilma Ochoa, stays in the meet with a world record right there. So, Erica had the world record for a couple minutes before Vilma got it. Then, yeah, it looks like bench was a Masters 1 world record, and the second was an open world record. So she blows that out of the water. And then it looks like Vilma on her opener gets the world record in the total. She keeps it for 1 minute before Erica Bueno does 182 and she gets the world record, and then she blows it out of the water. So it was an interesting battle. And then, I think Kimmy posted her goals for the meet were getting the World Games spot, having fun. And I think she also put in there that she wanted to win. So at that point, screw second place, go for the gold. Who knows if you're going to be that close, coming down to third attempt pull ever again. And if you go watch the video, it looked like it was possible, but she was kind of out of position. It looked like the bar was a little bit too forward on her. And so it kind of it sweeped into her, and it just was in a bad position. She got up to the knees, and then she just couldn't, lock it out. So she was close. And Ellie, like you said, she did well. And then she's just not a deadlifter. She just didn't have anything left at that point. And she didn't have the body weight either to take a smaller jump. But that was another really good battle there as far as the top 5. And then, a couple people in there too close by, 515, 507.
Yeah, like you said before with Vilma Ochoa Vargas, it's always funny to see okay, well, she missed her first 2 and she has the highest opener by far. So now it's either gold medal in the squat or bomb out kind of thing. So all or nothing at this point.
Yeah. But she's got plenty of experience, and so hopefully she wasn't that stressed, and she came back and got it.
It literally looked like her. It looked like her opener when she finally hit it right. It was just like boop boop. Okay, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah. So good battle there, and I got my 0, and you got a nice little 8 right there. So you got some good points there. This one got a little interesting today too. 93 kilo class. We thought we were going to get a Ukrainian sandwich. We did not get a Ukrainian sandwich.
Yeah, this was actually this was the most hype I was for any one of these weight classes, and I was just very disappointed in how this turned out. Not how it turned out, but just the lack of the high-end lifts being made. It just it seemed like everyone was kind of off a little bit, and there was 2 squats that were overturned in this. So was it Ruzniev? His third squat was overturned by the jury. And
no, it was Inzarkin's third.
Oh, sorry, Inzarkin, right?
Yeah.
So Ruzniev's second, I think, was overturned by the jury then.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, or maybe it was his bench press or something like that. He had one of them that was overturned, and then Nikki Letts Nielsen, he ended up squatting the world record on his third. Actually, I thought it looked pretty good, but it got 2-1 whites, and then the jury overturned it during the break. So we were kind of looking at the scoreboard, and you text me oh shit, they overturned that one too. It's oh damn. So that was rough for him. And then he went out and he missed his first 2 benches, and it was okay, now you're in trouble. But he ended up finishing off with a 300 kilo deadlift, which was good. But yeah, these we kind of figured these top 3 were going to be the top 3, and it could go in any order. But to be 1,002, 1,000, and 990 was surprising to me, considering Musienko just did a 1051 at Euros. Rusniak was in the 1030s. So yeah, and then Zarkin never puts any real numbers in anyway. So you can't trust what he does. But the guy just keeps winning now. So good for him.
1035.
Yeah, right, exactly. But but yeah, Zarkin's such a crazy lifter because everything is effortless until it's not. Right. So you're oh, he could have done 20 more kilos, and you put 2 more on the bar and he just misses it. Right. It's because everything is so fast and so furious with him. And then Constantine Musienko, who, I think he's probably I guess before today, I thought he was the best lifter going in the world. And he just had a rough day. Going 3 for 9, still totaling 990 and making world games with 3 for God's sakes. But yeah, so his first 2 squats were just rough. He missed depth bad on the second. He missed the first one completely. Then he hits the third one. His opening bench was fine, 325. They jumped to 340, and he missed it on lockout on his right side. And then they jumped to the world record, 351 and a half, which didn't make any sense. Like if it was a local meet or whatever, fine. You want to go for that? No problem, kind of thing. But like this is the world championships, like, and it turns out like if he would have hit that 340, guess what? If he took that on his third, that's a 15 kilo advantage there. Then all of a sudden he loses by 12 and a half kilos. That's the 15 kilos he needed to win, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't understand what was going on there. And again, he almost locked the damn 351 out. I mean, it was super close on that right side, but he just couldn't lock that thing out. And then, obviously his deadlift is much lower than the rest of these guys. He's a big subtotal guy. So he hits 290, and then he missed 302 and a half, and then 305, just trying to, hop into first place there at the end, and just, couldn't lock it out. And then Rizniak, he had a rough day as well. I mean, the Ukrainians just had a bad day today. 370 on the squat, and then I believe he got one of the other squats overturned. I'm pretty sure. There goes 280, 290, misses the 300 on the deadlift, and then again misses his second deadlift. I think he fell forward a little bit on it, and then he goes out and smashes it on his third. And now all of a sudden he's in the lead, and then Zarkin needs to hit that 352 and a half at the end for the win, and he smashed it. It looked great. So ROC is racking up some team points, my friend.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, what I saw, like, our boy Greg Johnson did great on squats. Actually,
Yeah.
like he was killing it while other people were missing. Unfortunately, it looks like he hurt his shoulder on bench press, but he was able to do some big pulls, still get the gold medal. Just couldn't get the world record. And then, yeah, Musienko, like, his squats look rough, and even that third one, like, it looked like, he barely got down. You weren't sure if it was to
that
death.
might have been a gift for
He
sure.
like struggled to come up and lock it out. Like his eyes were like barely open, so like that. He stays in the meet. And Zarkin, yeah, like, he was a little bit shaky and stuff like that, and he goes down fast, but makes it more difficult to see the third. And then, yeah, as I think they were loading up for Nikki, and then maybe as he was coming out, they like announced like, oh, they're overturning and Zarkin to a no lift. And I was like, shit, that kind of hurts me. And for Nikki, the 402 on the second attempt looked clearly high. It looked like he just didn't commit to it. He's just like, yo, I'm coming up. But I guess at that point, he kind of felt the weight more. It looked like he went down lower. But with that angle, it wasn't good enough to see whether it was the depth or not. But I could tell it was lower. And then he was, obviously really excited. And then, of course, he had turned a break. The jury decided we're going to overturn this. I don't know if it's because of World Games year or if there's going to be like tougher on maybe some records and stuff like that. Or maybe it's just whoever was on that jury that time. And then I was like, oh, imagine if he had gotten the world record and he missed his first bench and second bench. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to bomb. But then I was thinking, like, if he had gotten the world record squat, they would have gone, more conservative, maybe a raw bench opener. Like they would have possibly changed the plan.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely doesn't bench raw. So like he has the world record already at 400 even, I believe it is, or 400.5, one of those. But he's said it a couple times now at different meets and he'll come out and he'll bench, like you said, 230 or 240, something like that. Like normally, a little bit lower than his normal opener just to lock it in, because he's not a big bencher as it is, and he's not really a big deadlifter. So he's kind of normally out of the medal hunt. So that's his one big weapon is the squat. So, obviously you hit the world record, you want to lock it in and make sure it stays there for a while. And then the other one, of course, is David Coimbra from Brazil. Fantastic squat. So like, he comes in and gets a bronze medal in squat where like, he opens at 345. The rest of the guys are opening at 370, 375. 370, 370, 375, and then 390. And he ends up making 3 attempts and he ends up with a bronze medal, which is crazy. Goes out there and does well in the bench press and then deadlift. I love this guy because he just like, I want to get on the medal stand. I want to win. I don't care. Just load it up and I'm going to do it. So he goes 315, 327 and a half, and 370 on the deadlift to try to hop into third place when he had the opportunity there. I just love it about this guy that he just like, yeah, fine. You want me to, if I bump down to 8th place, I don't care. I want to get on the medal stand. That's why I'm here. So I mean, the guy is a competitor. It's fantastic. And plus, he's been coaching all week too. So, for him to be able to do that, go out there, handle all these other Brazilian lifters, rapid knees and all that stuff, and then go out and put up a 950 total, 947. That's damn good.
I wonder like how much of a Hail Mary he felt that was. Like if you thought that was like in your wheelhouse, because I think his PR is somewhere around 360 or 365 actually.
365, I believe.
Even though he put in 335. Let me see
Yeah.
real quick. I was like, oh, he opened up really light. Like, was he, 365. So maybe he felt like his quad was bothering him. But I was like, oh, he could have like taken some bigger jumps and maybe done like 325 and then gone to like 350. And then he could have potentially had a deadlift medal at that point and then do the YOLO to 370 or something like that.
Right.
But I don't know how much he cared about 4th place. I don't know how conservative he was because maybe he seemed kind of like rough coming out of his squats. Like he was kind of like waiting there on the bar and they were kind of like helping him out and stuff like that. He had his knees wrapped a little bit on bench, but like around the kneecap, not over the kneecap, like kind of support it. So maybe he was a little bit beat up and just played it safe and then tried the YOLO. And I think if I remember correctly, YOLO didn't come off the ground.
I believe in Dubai in 2019, he bombed on deadlifts. So maybe that's why the 315 was in there. So he could.
Yeah, he missed 355.
Yeah, that was his opening deadlift, 355. So maybe there was like, let's play the psychological game and just get it on the board and not worry about it. And this is also the guy too that in when was Canada, the Raw Worlds, 2018?
Yeah.
That he loaded up a shot to win and beat LS in Canada, and it was a humongous, like, I forget what the jump was, but again, it was something, 20, 30 kilos, whatever it was. And he just loaded it up and YOLO'd it. And a lot of people think he got robbed on that one and did finish it. But he ended up missing it. But it was damn close for sure. So, I mean, as I said, I love this guy who's just like, yeah, let's go. Load it up for me. I'll do it. Let's go.
Yeah, so definitely interesting there. And like I said, maybe Musienko played it more conservative. Then he wouldn't need 305. Or maybe needed 295 or 297. Could have pulled it off, but at least still going to World Games. Maybe bounce back. But it's interesting, like you said in our preview show, he's like he's best lifter in the world, and then time comes and you're third best in your weight class.
Right, exactly. Second best in your country, third best in your weight class.
So then,
but he actually, so he interesting is he did get married in between Europeans and worlds, and his wife is also a world-class lifter. I forget what her name is, but so maybe he's busy with vacation and honeymoon and whatever, and maybe his training just been off. But based off of the opening numbers he put in and all that stuff, they didn't expect his training to be off, like, at least. So
we shall move on to another interesting one, the 63 kilo class. A little bit surprising. Oh no. A little bit surprising there. We weren't sure what kind of Carola Garo would come.
We didn't expect this. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, she went very conservative on her squats, came out light. Everything was looking easy, put on a show. But for Larsa Soliviova, yeah, I mean, I don't remember if you saw her open her squat, like she got the squat command, and I guess she had her balance off or something like that, and she just went forward into the rack. And since it was after the squat command, boom, you're done. Then you have to repeat it, and then she went to 230 when I believe her nomination. Let me just create a new tab here instead of going back and forth. I'm pretty sure she squatted quite a bit more than that before. 240. Or sorry, I was looking wrong. 225 is her nominated. Let's see what her actual one is. With people with a fake, 241.5. So okay, she's 10 kilos underneath it, but then the bench just wasn't there. Like her butt was coming up, or she couldn't lock out her elbow at the end on a couple of them, and she's done 184.5. So you're like, 20 kilos less, and she had an issue. Like it was like so close, but it was just like a little bit bent, and they just weren't giving the rack command, and finally give the rack command. They're just telling her on elbows she couldn't lock it out. So that knocked her out, but I guess she just came and got at least a deadlift medal.
Yeah.
And then the other things I remember is Taylor LaChapelle smokes her opener 225 and turns it around and gets 3 reds. And she was like shocked like that she got 3 reds. Like, oh shit, this is worlds. Oh, world. So she comes back and sinks in a little bit deeper. You can tell it's clearly more difficult. She gets the 3 whites on that, and then that's when she jumps straight to that junior world record. And from what I saw from the front shot from the video, I'm like, man, it looked like that spotter touched it. And so it looked like that one side dipped down and spotter may have touched him, pushed it over, like, but I guess the judges didn't see it. So you get the junior world record. Everyone wants to complain when refs make it too hard of a call, but then people always like ignore when like the refs give an easy call and the lifter
Right.
gets a left. Oh no, I never saw that before in my life. IPF is only super strict. And so then she does well on her squats. Carola Gara, I believe, on the second bench, she gets it and they overturn it and say
Correct.
her butt was up. Then she takes on her third, and you can clearly tell her butt
Yeah.
was up on that one. So now she leaves the door a little bit open. Taylor on her opener deadlift. Do you remember what it was? Oh, it was like knees or something.
I don't remember that one. I'm sorry.
I think the announcer said shoulders, but I don't know. So, it was a red card, I guess. So it was either knees weren't locked out or shoulders weren't enough back. Like sometimes people have a narrow grip to kind of like slouch forward a little bit. So
Right.
she came back and got in her second, like pulled the shoulders back. I believe that was the issue. And then, taking the 12.5 kilo jump, she's got the body weight, tried to go for it and couldn't get that one. So, first year, I believe, in the Open, she's won sub juniors. She's won Open, moved up from the 57s to the 63s. Not bad. World record squat, world record total, second place going to World Games.
Yeah, I mean, even if Larissa finished the meet, I mean, as we expected to be in that, low to mid 600s, she obviously still finished second place, so she would have been third place and gone to World Games anyway. So, yeah, so that's a 600 total, but that's, with just making the opening bench. But yeah.
Yeah, and then probably more
Yeah, she
conservative.
wouldn't have done that,
Yeah.
right?
And then at
Yes.
that point, it would have been interesting to see if Taylor, like, say she was in third, if she would have gone for second or if she would have gone for first. But either way, those three were ahead of everyone that Taylor
Right.
would have been in there.
Yep, yep, yep.
I was expecting some more, I believe, out of Kenya. Let me see what her nomination was on the women's side, because I feel like she's a really strong lifter. And they're at 555 and 550, yeah, so they can't quite keep up. So it was really, just those top three, and then Larissa, who's won so many world titles and won world games and everything like that. Potentially, age is getting to her. Potentially, there was just some other issues there with the bench press. So
Again, Ukraine just like dropping the ball again, man. Like it's literally just been a rough week so far for the Ukrainians. That's unfortunately the biggest disappointment. I was very excited for a lot of their lifters, and clearly I picked a lot of their lifters, and it
got
has
got
not gone.
got me 12. You got 0, baby.
Has not gone well so far.
All
So
right, let's go to the Goat Slayer 74-kilo class.
yeah.
Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I was back and forth with that one, but I watched a good amount of it for sure. Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't see the squat, so I didn't actually realize that Shell almost bombed on the squat. So
Hey, I
did you
didn't
see
see
that?
that either.
Yeah.
No.
So I didn't realize that. I did see Oleg miss the I saw I guess the replay of the 360 squat or whatever miss. We just wasn't strong enough for that. And then him pull ahead at the end and just wasn't there. I mean, it was a big jump for him in the deadlift to go 285, 295, and what does it say, 310? Is that what it says?
Yep.
Yeah. The 295 was work, but it wasn't too bad, but not 15 kilos worthy. But at that point you're locked into, well, actually wasn't locked in a second, but you just take that shot anyway because it's Oleg, and what does he care about silver or bronze? He wants gold. You know what I mean? So but Shell comes back and has a rough start, but then he makes his last 7 lifts and goes home world title again. So now he's beaten Taylor, he's beaten Oleg twice now. I mean, the guy's unstoppable.
Unstoppable. Yeah, it's interesting that you said that, because usually I feel like Oleg is like always a fast squatter, and it's just whether he gets down to depth or not. So it's
Yeah.
interesting now if maybe his strength is off, or if you're weight in light 72.2, age is finally getting to him, that he just kind of straight up missed that one.
Yeah.
And then also interesting here that, like, yeah, you're the weaker deadlifter. Like, how do you play it? Because you got Sergey coming from you from behind. you got Shell above you. So like, do you just only take a 10 kilo jump? Do you take a 5 kilo jump? Um, he could have potentially gone like 300 and then seeing what Shell does. Like
Right.
he didn't have to go 310, but like you said, potentially just going for that gold. Like he knew his top three was locked in. And then the other interesting thing too, I didn't get to watch it all, is we were talking about Luke Comer was nominated in there pretty high. Like his open IPF numbers were much lower than his training numbers, so I didn't get to see what happened. But unfortunately, bombed out on bench press.
Let's see,
And
310, 285. So that's 595. So he would have been like right at 800. So he's still, even if he made a bench press, he really wasn't even close to what he was expecting to do, it looks like. So, but clearly missing 2 squats and a deadlift and 3 benches will do that to you. So, and then the guy with the best name in all powerlifting, the 9th place Iranian, which is amazing.
Asadallah Zadereza Badi.
Just the ass dollars is fantastic.
Asadallahs, baby. And then how about Suzuki Go, bronze in the bench press?
Yeah, big bench press. But again, only took a 2.5 kilo, like missed the opener, repeated it, and then was hard enough where he was like, screw it, I'm just taking a teeny tiny jump here.
And then our boy Alexis, I think he goes by Alexis Ramos. He just came mostly there for one thing. Like he wasn't keeping up on a total, so go straight for the world record in a second. Got it. Tried it again for the third, and wasn't able to get it.
It's interesting. The second was pretty. I mean, the world record was he hit it fairly well. So I don't remember how he missed the third one. I mean, because based off of the 329, 5 more kilos shouldn't have been an issue, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I forget too if it was an issue like locking out his knees and going for. I don't remember, but it's also interesting too. Like, at this point, well, I guess Sergey was still trying to catch him. I was like, Shell didn't even try and go for it, but I guess potentially here, Sergey was trying to go for 360 or 860. So Shell was just trying to pad his total some more.
Right.
So nice little battle there.
Right. Yeah. So he ended up going for
he didn't want to be left at 850 and then Sergey catch him from behind, I guess.
Right. Yep. So yeah, again, the Goat Slayer, baby.
Goat Slayer got me 12 points, baby. But at least you got Oleg right. You're like, you'll find a way to make it happen. And let's move on to the 52s. That was another interesting one.
Yeah, again, I mean, a very, very big favorite here, we thought, ended up just not performing. Just interesting enough. I mean, and she ended up actually making all of her lifts, right? Is that what it looks like? Right. She went 9 for 9, right?
No, she missed a third squat, second and third
I'm just having
bench.
Yeah, some of the dashes on the screen here are way darker than the others. Sorry. Yeah,
it's hard to show the entire scoreboard. So then we like,
no, I'm with you. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So sorry, I was completely wrong. That's I thought, yeah. So again, Natalia, she's won this class a few years now, and comes out and just misses the third squat, and she's normally a pretty big bencher if I'm not mistaken, and then hitting 135 was surprising for sure, because I'm fairly certain she's had the world record at some point in this weight class.
I was like, let me pull up the.
Yeah.
She's nominated 147. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I maybe it was a couple of years ago she had the world record then or something like that. But yeah, the other Russian, I mean, just came out and like a house on fire. Huge bench press, 165.5 is like crazy good. I mean, that's over the world record in the weight class. You can see it right there. So the 160, 156 there, that's 9.5 kilos above the world record in the weight class above. So I mean, that's a massive, massive weapon to have there. And again, decent enough deadlift to just kind of hold off whatever she needed to win, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, again, the Russian Olympic Committee again just racking up some medals here, and like they're putting again a good, pretty good team score together too here.
And on the flip side, your Ukrainians,
Yeah,
Anastasia,
yeah,
is like
again, right, just underperforming.
gets one squat just to stay in, then misses two benches, and then she's still in it. So she makes one deadlift, tries to take the 10-kilo jump to get Natalia Salnikova on body weight, and just can't get it. So gets stuck in the fourth place. But that would have been interesting. Like, if she had executed a little bit better or just gone to 185, it's like Natalia Salnikova would have been completely off the podium and would have been out of the World Games.
Yeah,
That would have been a huge difference. And Frank Mary Duno, I think maybe she's a newer lifter when it comes to equipped. Her numbers have shot up because I think we only seen one result on Open IPF, and here she's nominated at 488,
yeah.
and she gets all the way up to 497 and gets second place. And at that point, Natalia was just defending; she didn't even try. And at that point, Anastasia was trying to get third, so she didn't even try. So she had second locked up, already on the second attempt, basically.
It's cool too. I just love seeing lifters from countries that like don't normally have big teams or good teams, hitting the podium, right? So someone from Peru hitting the podium is like really really cool. Is it Peru, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny too that it looks like Sidjakova, got fifth on squat and eighth on deadlift. She only got one individual medal, and Frank Mary
Yeah.
got first on squat and second on bench. She got two.
Right.
It's just not.
Yeah.
It's just that, like you said, that 30-kilo extra on bench is just like a difference maker right there. But
Right.
I believe, yeah, I don't know how long she's been powerlifting, but I believe Ivan Cancel was coaching her, and then I think maybe Big Mike was there, like helping load weights or something like that. So
That's
at
good.
least she had some experience there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a ton of South Americans at these, world championships. I mean, Brazil usually has a pretty decent sized team. Ecuador usually has some lifters there, but to see like some Peruvians or Argentinians and that kind of stuff is really really good. Colombia had a pretty big team for a while, too, I believe. But yeah, it's always nice to see these random one-off lifters and hit the podium too, right? So like, her by herself has more points than Sweden, who had three lifters score. It was great.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess one of the downsides is like South America doesn't have as many countries in the continent compared to some other continents. But even then, yeah, like Brazil showed up, Ecuador showed up, Peru showed up, and I don't know if there's anyone else competing, but at least you got those. Every once in a while, Argentina shows up. There's actually one Argentina lifter I know who's in Costa Rica, so he's like going to switch over. But like they do have some lifters. Um, I think Chile's like trying to come back on. So they got a couple of countries. So yeah, it's good to see those other countries competing, and then also seeing Brazil win and seeing Peru get in there. So that was definitely another interesting one where Sidjakova, with that monster bench, just pulled away, and then Frank Mariduno put up enough on her total to take second, and Salnikova just off day. She gets a 185 squat, and she's nominated 197. She was nominated 147. She only gets 135, and at that point you're kind of out. But even then, deadlift she gets 170, and she's done 172. So at least she was kind of on point on that one. But it seems like maybe it's the changing of the ROC guard over there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, some of the household names are now sitting a little bit lower on the podium.
Yeah, and I don't know what her total was before, but Karen Hesthammer's like was a junior lifter, and I believe she got married and had a kid, and now she's back. So it's good to see. Looks like she's done 512 before, and then she did 467. So maybe she's coming back, rebuilding the numbers, and she can be up in there as well.
I
Trying
believe
to
it was
see.
was it her and Kimmy that went head to head a couple times at World Championships, or
Yeah, one of them was here in Orlando,
yeah,
and then it looks like she went up from the 52s to 57s, and then it
yeah.
looks like now she's back down to the 52s. So could be interesting. She's a young lifter. If she sticks around, she can maybe move up in there as well.
Maybe it was her against Taylor. It was I'm thinking of, because Taylor bumped up to the 60. It was in that 57s maybe or something like that. But I remember her seeing her from Junior Worlds and thinking that she's going to be a player coming up. So if she has, like you said, got married, had a kid, whatever, and came back from that, and she's competing like that at a world championship, that's damn impressive.
Yeah. We're down to our final two weight classes. This was another interesting one, 83 kilo class with 19 lifters. I think that might be the biggest one. Looks like it.
Yeah, that
That's the one.
was
That's the one they split up as well.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, so real quick, we'll talk about the 63s. So that was on the Eurosport channel, and what they did was they did basically like a um, smaller flight version for TV. So I think what did they end up taking?
I remember it was three.
Yeah, so it was eight. It was eight in the main like the evening session, and they took three women for the afternoon session. So it was basically three women, and then it had what a 4 minute break was it?
I wasn't actually watching, but it should have been a 3 minute break because it
Three
adds up
minute
to
break, yeah.
six.
Yeah, so it's basically three women would squat, 3 minute break on the clock, then the next woman, so it's like really, really shitty the way they did that. Like, I would have liked to see them, maybe put them together with the men in that possibly, just so it was a one flight and you wouldn't have to have all this dead time. But also, like, just for those women get to go to a world championship and then you're in a flight of three women, competing like 6 hours before the other people are competing just kind of sucks, man. I
I,
feel
I
bad for them.
forget. I forget who the third person was. Let me see who was nominated. Uh, I think yeah, this person didn't show up, so
It
maybe
was
it
the
was
other Italian, yeah.
Laura. So unfortunately, Laura bombed out on bench press, and it looks like either she tried deadlifts or didn't. So I don't know if that affected her. But like Megan Layton, she made all her attempts, and then the other South African duet, did all right as well. So I don't know how much that messed them up or how much they were prepared for a potential situation like that. But it was definitely weird seeing seeing the numbers go in. It's like, oh, there's only three of them. This is gonna suck.
So I'm watching this. I'm looking at this here. I wonder. I didn't watch this session, but that afternoon session. I wonder if her three deadlifts that she missed after she already bombed on bench, if they just put a number in for her. So like then it was a 4 minute break in between two women deadlifting.
Yeah, and I wonder also if I go real quick. I wonder if they back and pull up that session just to see how long it was with even with the 83s in there. But I saw too. I forget what session it was where they did a similar thing. Maybe it was the Eurosport 83 kilo class. They went to 5 minute breaks between disciplines. So like they broke their own rule, went from 10 minute breaks down to 5 minute breaks to maybe move faster for Eurosport.
Hmm. Bending the
So
rules for TV. I like it.
so A group was 2.5 hours, and then B group was 3 hours.
Huh.
So maybe they took bigger breaks.
Yeah, I mean, I probably just did the normal 20 minute. No, it wouldn't have been 20 minutes. It would have been 10 minutes, but whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, both of those are pretty quick for a powerlifting meet.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Sorry. So yeah, we're back to the 83 men. Sorry.
So,
Yeah, I mean, big Newt from USVI, formerly USAPL, comes through. Starts the day off a little rocky. Only gets one squat in, but changes his opening deadlift, bumps it up to his PR, I believe, um, to kind of hop himself into the lead and just kind of hold serve from there. It ends up, not even needing the third deadlift to win. So that was pretty interesting. It was good for him. I mean, he's been doing this for a while, and his dad's been doing this forever. So it was really good to see him, come through with a gold medal on his neck. And I mean, again, Ukraine, who was the defending champion, Mikola. I thought he would be the one to beat in this, and he's only 2.5 kilos off the top, but again, just misses two benches. I believe he also got one of those benches overturned, if I'm not mistaken. For his butt coming up, and then he, interesting enough, deadlifts without a belt.
yeah.
So hits his 280 opener, goes to 295. It looked pretty good, and then he was just fried, and that 300 just got close to his knees and just couldn't lock it out to hop into the lead. And I do wonder, so what did Newt miss? 335? Is that what happened?
Yep.
So I wonder if he did hit that and Newt had to hit, 332 and a half if that ends up happening, right? I mean, that's you can play a lot of all those what if games or what was the Marvel show that was out? Was it
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, what if?
what if, right? You can always play those games all the time and like, oh, if you only took this and what if this happened and what if his lot number was different than this guy's and it would be a different outcome kind of thing, which is kind of cool. But yeah, again, ROC lifter on top of two Ukrainian lifters. Seems to be a theme this whole week. But yeah, good for Newt though. I mean, guy comes through and if I'm not mistaken, the first gold medal for the USVI in equipped lifting, if I'm not mistaken. I have no idea if that's true or not. I just kind of made that up, but I'm
I kind of made
pretty
that up.
confident it's true.
Yeah, it was interesting because anyone who knows Newt knows he says he's good at the bookends, good at squat and deadlift, not so much at bench press. So you're watching, you're like, man, he only got one squat on the lift that he's the best at. You're like, I'm looking at the projections. I'm like, man, he might be a little bit in trouble here. Like he's got the world games spot, but he's in trouble for first place. Like the Russians, the Ukrainians are doing well. Then we go into bench press. He gets two benches, but he misses a third. I'm like, man, he lost, another few kilos there. I'm like, this is gonna be tough. And I'm looking at the numbers, and he's at like a 890 something like that projection. The other guys are 900 plus, and he bumps up his opener. I forget if it was like
I think it was
305.
305 to 315, I think.
Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah, as well, 305, 315. But the mistake the commentators and you fell for is he wrote his nominated numbers 315, but his PR is actually 332.5 that he's done. So the commentators like, oh, he's opening up with his PR. And they're like, oh, that's the easiest PR I've ever seen. But if people had looked at his results and seen a local meet, he's done 332 before. So of course he smokes at 315, and he changed his opener to fall into the placing where he wanted. So that kind of threw me off on the prognosis a little bit as well, as I saw somewhere around 890 because he had the lower opener in. Then at that point he's pulling more than everyone, so he just watches what everyone else is doing, puts in the jump that he needs to stay ahead, and then everyone misses their third, and you're like, well, I won. Everyone missed their third. I had the win already locked up on the second. But yeah, again, you get to play the what if and said, okay, if one of these guys had made it, would he have been able to pull it off? But this was right around, I think, his PR total. And I was assuming these other guys were going to execute and they were going to be like, 925 plus, and Newt would be behind. But, sometimes at Worlds, things don't go the way you think you do. And everyone gets right there, 915, 915, 912. And that was the win right there. Looking at.
The interesting thing, too, with his deadlift is that I think you said this, that those are the same attempts he had at nationals in June, right? Opened at 315, then he missed 327 twice.
Yeah.
So like that's also got to be playing in his head a little bit, like, oh shit, I just missed this twice at nationals in June. So that's a very interesting thing.
And I think when he did that
database,
I think when he did the 332, he actually opened up a little bit lighter. So he had 315 and missed it twice, and then when he made it, he did 312 and then 325.
What meet was that? Was his local meet?
Yeah, local meet where he's done 927, but then at nationals he did 918.5. So
yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean, good on him. The other guys didn't execute, and he made enough that he needed, especially off of the squat and deadlift, and get that world title. And even though he missed the third attempt deadlift, it didn't really matter. I saw him walk over and hug his dad, and they were obviously really happy that he got the win finally.
Yeah, that's tough position too, right? Like you just won because the guy before you missed, and it's like, cool, let's go pull a PR now. Like, a lot of emotions going on. It's gonna be tough to pull something big after that, right? When it's basically over already. The other thing I was just going to mention is that, like, obviously he left the USAPL to the US Virgin Islands. He was looking up on the database. So on his USAPL database, it'll never show up that he's world champion.
We got to go open IPF for that one.
Yeah, got to go open IPF, right? Exactly.
And then looking at the other medals, I guess this Ukrainian got the bronze on squat with just one squat. And then this lifter got bronze on bench. I'm guessing that's Romania, ROU.
I wonder if that was from the morning session.
I mean, it could have been with how low they are, which is interesting that, miss 257, gets it, ends up getting the bronze.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know that for sure or not, but like, based off of where his total was, it's possible he was in the
And
morning
then
session.
and then this Chinese Taipei lifter Wu Yi Hang gets silver on deadlift at 325. Not bad.
Yeah. It was a good session. It was really tight at the top, and like, again, it comes down to those three guys, and each one pulling for the win. Three in a row basically. So it was cool.
And I remember this guy struggling with the bench press. Like, he got 10th on squats, so maybe he didn't think it was in a battle. He was probably trying to go for a medal as well on the bench press, ended up bombing out. And at that point, he's like, yo, I'll just take 75 kilos and call it a day.
Mongolians.
Mongolian babies.
Mm.
So I got the 12 on that. And then, yeah, your Ukrainian boy disappointed you, got you only 8 points.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to the final weight class for today, 69 kilo class, that new weight class. Interesting, another battle there. We weren't sure what Anna was going to do coming off of Classic Worlds and disappointed, but she showed up.
I honestly, dude, I thought this was like I thought this was locked up after bench press with Sonia Stephanie Kruger. I really did. Like, she smashes the bench press world record or the squat world record, hits the bench world record, and then her opening deadlift was she pulled her opening deadlift back like 15 kilos or something like that. I believe it was like 190. And then she all of a sudden, like, she was up like third or whatever in the flight. I'm like, wait, what the heck just happened? And clearly, I mean, I don't necessarily know what her PR is, but I honestly, like, when I saw the opener, I'm like, oh, cool, she got stronger. Or when I saw the opener listed before the break went on, yeah, before the change, I was like, oh, cool, she's gotten stronger, so this is going to be good. Gets 10th place in deadlift and ends up second place overall and hits the world record total, which is crazy, right? You hit a world record total, you get second place. Sucks. So she ended up with actually 3 world records and then 1 getting beat. But world record squat, world record bench, world record total, and loses. That's a really weird emotional day right there.
And if I remember correctly, let me see if I can actually pull it up real quick. And I think Anna's second squat was a world record attempt. The one
Okay.
that the 247 that she missed. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick, because that makes it even like a little bit more interesting. So, oh no, it was 248.5. Okay.
Gotcha.
I thought for some reason that was the world record, but yeah, I mean, junior world record and an open world record twice, you're in first place. Then you open up with the open world record. Unfortunately, misses out, an extra 5 kilos, but then you're in first place there, and you're the subtotal queen going in. And unfortunately, yeah, dropping the opener, maybe something was off, and they had to drop it down, and plus make sure you get your world records. And then the other interesting thing too, again, we're playing like what ifs here at the end is only lose by 2 kilos, but you took a 7.5 kilo jump. So I
Right.
wonder, I didn't get to watch to see how easy or difficult Anna's 215 was for them to think, hey, we need to go up 7.5. Like, Anna has more in her. Because, I mean, obviously this wasn't a pull for the win, but at that point you're like, oh, she missed. Like, what if they had gone up, 192? Would Anna have been able to do more or not? So,
Right. Yeah, I mean, even if, well, yeah, right, exactly. We know that if she put 5 kilos on the bar instead of 7.5, that Anna did miss that 220.
yeah.
So
And,
without any hype up though, because she's already won at that point. So, but yeah, it's yeah, you can play that what if game all the time,
and
all
then
the time.
unfortunately, Kelsey disappointed. Not sure what happened. I didn't watch any of her lifts, and I haven't talked to Mike yet. But Mike was making it sound like she was getting close to her peak. Like, she wasn't at her best numbers yet, but she was getting close to it. But it just seemed like maybe the 235 was depth, and then she got it and tried to go for the world record. Didn't get it. Not sure what that was. I don't know if you watched her squats.
I didn't see it. No.
And then she's had trouble before with bench press. Like, I believe she's bombed at the Arnold bench before. And so, miss one, get it, take a big jump and miss. And then, I mean, at that point, maybe on deadlift, she was kind of checked out at that point too. Like, she had, she wasn't going to get first or second, but she could have potentially got caught from behind too.
Yeah,
So,
it was really really close. Yeah.
and so at that point too, again, we're like looking at the sheet at the very end and saying, oh, I could have done this, could have done that. But it's like, man, you took a 12.5 kilo jump on bench, you missed, and then you take a 12.5 kilo jump on deadlift, you missed, and you almost got backdoored. Whereas, like, maybe at this point, you're like, man, I got one squat in, I got one bench in, someone's catching me from behind. Maybe you only go up like, 5 kilos or something like that, play it safe. But I didn't get to watch any of the attempts to see how easy or difficult they were.
But on the flip side, if she makes all those lifts, she's up 40 kilos and she wins in a waltz, man.
I
Right?
mean,
15 on the squat, 12 on the deadlift, 12 on the bench.
but that's the other thing I thought about too. Is like, okay, what if you didn't take 255? What if you took
Right,
245? And then on the bench, what if you didn't take the 180? You took like 175.
right.
And then on the deadlift, what if you didn't take 212? You took like
207, right.
two or even 205.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
right there in the battle, and at that point you're on two. You take maybe 205 for the second, and then you take 210 or whatever, 207 for the third, whatever. Obviously people's strategy would have changed, but yeah, like we don't know what their plan was, and obviously they didn't know what everyone's top end was. But you're like, yeah, her top end would have been like way more than they needed for the win. So if they had pulled back the third attempts a little bit, potentially it would have been there. But who knows?
And plus,
But
obviously, like, being in the thick of it at the end, you're going to deadlift better, right? Because you're more excited for it. And also, not missing a third squat, not missing a third bench press, your spirit's going to be much higher. You're going to be feeling unstoppable going into the deadlifts also. So that'll affect how you're going too.
she was the lightest one too, so she could have beat Anna on total as well.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, even though she cut down from the 72, she was the lightest. So
She
maybe
was
that played into that too somehow.
Yeah, I mean, she was like, I remember James Townsend was always, I think, trying to push her up into like 69 kilo and getting up to 70 kilo. And she's weighed a couple like 70 kilos a couple of times before. But yeah, now her weight looks a little bit down again, 67.8.
Yeah.
So I don't think she was ever going to fill out the 72s, but maybe she can fill out the 69s. Give it another shot at World Games since she got in there.
And I always think it's just interesting too. I see the deadlift medals, first and second place are down there, right? I mean, it's like 10th place lifter, 8th place lifter, but they're just good deadlifters with Catherine Bach and Ivana Horna. So
yeah, because I think Catherine has the world record actually.
Yeah, she just said it. It was like 231 or something like that. Yeah, because she did Masters Worlds, and then Euro also. So I think she's 233. Yeah, I think she hit like 231, and then she hit 233 the next meet or something like that. So this is like her third meet within the last 4 months, I believe.
Yeah, so at that point, I guess she just like, I just want the gold medal deadlift and then go for the record.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Ivana put up nice. I mean, that's pretty cool for a lifelong raw lifter and Olympic lifter to hop in the equipment, all of a sudden, and now she's top 10 in the world is pretty damn good.
What weight class was she at Classic Worlds?
Classic was 69. No, Classic was 63. But that's the funny thing is like at Europeans, she was in the 76 class at European equipped. So like, yeah, I mean,
back up to 68.9
in weight, man. That's some damn impressive.
And
that's
also, how many attempts does she usually make?
Yes, like 3 to 5, and yeah,
she made all of them.
Maybe this is her new shtick here. Who knows?
Yeah, man. I don't know if it's the weight. I don't know if it's the weight or if it's the equip, but something's working here.
Yeah,
but also now you mention the weight classes, like interesting to see how people haven't filled out yet. Like there's a 64.9, 66.8, 66.4, 67. People,
right.
Figuring out where they're going to be settled in right here.
And the heaviest one is the one that's really in the 63 kilo class. Right, Ivana's at 68.9.
I didn't realize that. Jeez,
that's great.
So going back here, you snuck out. You got the 9, and I got stuck with the 8, thinking I was going to get 12. So currently, I'm up 15. But on this one, you potentially could have some shots because, like, you can get Ian, you can get Rhea, you can get Rubitz.
Yeah. So basically, how many we got left? How many classes are left? 5.
Yeah.
So if I win all 5, I'm good. Or the worst we can do is tie. But 15,
yeah. Yeah.
So right, so it'd be 15-point spread. But
Oh, so I need one upset.
right, until somebody bombs and all of a sudden one goes to 0, then it's game over, right? But
Something here, maybe.
but the fact that I have a couple Ukrainians left doesn't make me feel great considering they have been struggling. But no, I feel good about Stinner. I feel good about, let's see, Ian. Yeah, Ilya is like,
Ilya.
that was my safe bet, like to pad this thing at the end, and now I need the points. So now I need like 3 bombs so she pops into first place.
Yeah.
Um,
Then we go to confidence points, and we got lots of zeros here from
yeah,
missing.
man, this
You
is
know,
rough.
we both missed all of these. And then you missed a couple here, and I missed one here. I feel like if we had convinced Ryan, if we had convinced people to do this confidence points, we would have seen a lot more variation in placings because, like you see here, so many people would have had zeros.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's just
And,
that's the beauty of Equipped, right? There's not like, you know, unless something weird happens, we know that Jess Bittner is going to win the 76 class, right? But
or
here it's
Leah.
like, right, or whatever,
Yeah.
right? But like here it's like, okay, cool. We know like this is the group of 4 people, and like 2 of them could bomb. So then all of a sudden this happened, kind of thing. So that's it's just it's really really good, really really good competition so far. And the bombs, I mean, we tease about it all the time, but it does make it more fun when it's like, this heavy favorite is going in, and all of a sudden they're out of the meet. I mean, you know, Larissa from Ukraine has won how many titles in a row and how many world games in a row, and all of a sudden, guess what? She's out of the meet, and then we got a new champ. And that's another thing too is we didn't mention is that Carola Gara is now equipped and a classic world champion. So going with Bonica and going with Sergey Fedosyenko, Sergey Gladkick. I think Sofiane Belkacir did it also. But it's a
Anna.
very what's that?
Anna.
Oh yeah, Anna has done it. Blaine has done it. So it's a really elite group of people for sure, which is cool.
Shell. Our boy.
Oh
Shell
yeah, of course,
Bakala.
yeah, of course, Shell, yeah. So that's yeah, it's a very elite group of people. I mean, it's probably 10 people or so. Waylon Chen did it.
Yeah. I was gonna
Um,
say the other thing with this too, when we were going over in the preview show, we're like, it's a World Games year. Are people gonna go conservative to make sure to get top 3, or are they gonna go maybe a little bit more aggressive to still go for the title? And we saw some people went aggressive still to go for the title, and we get a bunch of zeros here.
well, that's I mean, yeah, obviously underperform, bomb out, underperform. Yeah, so I mean, like, again, it hasn't been any like conservative play on those zeros we got. It was just like underperformances.
And
Yeah,
then
the Newt one got me. That one was a big one for you. And then Musienko. Yeah, so Newt and Marta are the 2 that really sealed the deal for you in this one.
hey, 2 points, baby.
What
Yeah, I
about
was like,
that? Oh, sorry.
yeah, I was like, yeah, the biggest, the zero I had, it was just one difference there.
Yeah, we both had her. So if I picked, someone else there, it would have been a different story. But
And then going over to our prop bets,
yeah,
we're 50% over here. I didn't look as far as the limits for the World Games weight classes, but 4 of them qualified. So for
right.
our game, we are already over, and we still got Ian left, we still got Joe Cap left, we still got trying to think if that's we got Scott Dobbins left. So
Right.
maybe
And
they
what's sorry,
Sarah
84
Roddick.
kilo. Yeah, Sarah. Yeah.
Then you kind of told me it was low over under on bomb outs. We're already over. I thought the halfway point would be over, but we were at like 14 or 15, and then today we blew it out of the water.
Yeah. So every class has had a bomb out so far, at least one.
Yeah, and then there was a couple where they had like 3 bomb outs.
Yeah. Yeah. So Marta, I mean, did she have 250 in the tank? Possibly, but she went for the gold overall, so she loaded up 260, so she didn't even try it.
It still
But,
it still would have been like hit or miss, but the way like she missed her 240 in the opener, losing her position,
yeah,
coming back and she like smoked it on her second without an issue. I was like, okay, maybe she could have gotten her 250 in.
yeah.
Depends on with keeping the balance, and she likes to sometimes lock out one knee and then the other
Yep.
one and stuff like that. But
Yeah. And then we were just like way the hell off on this one. We just like dropped the ball big time.
Mike lied to me, man. Mike lied to me. I'm gonna have to have a conversation with him. But also just in general in this weight class, the numbers were much lower than was expected. Everyone was trying to go big, and it turns out didn't need that much.
Yeah. But at least Kelsey got in World Games, so that'll be good. So she can redeem herself on her on U.S. soil next year, which would be good.
Home soil, baby. USVI's U.S. soil.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but that's a big deal, though. I mean, have that home field advantage and that kind of stuff. I mean, because she lives in Boston, so I mean, you're talking like, 3-4 hour flight, whatever, as opposed to like, Anna coming up from Brazil and she's having to stop in Panama or Miami, then fly over there, whatever. So like, yeah, it's and how do those break up again? Do you remember the actual weight classes? How they break one up? Because now it's new weight classes, so it's going to be different.
I think now with 8 weight classes is just 2 weight classes per World Games weight class.
Okay, so it's going to be 4. So it'd be 47, 52, 57, 63. So 69, 76. That's massive. That's so cool. That's like 2 of the best classes. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I was like, I can pull it up real quick here and double check, but I believe that's what they went to just to make it easier.
So while we're talking about this, is World Games ever going to go raw?
Our boy Six Pack Labadow was saying it on one of our podcasts, like the sure thing. And I was like, I don't know if he has some kind of info or that's just like him like putting it out into the world. Oh, it's happening. But I believe there's enough people at the top with the European like EC members and Gaston and stuff like that want to keep it equipped.
Okay.
So I don't know where he got that from. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see here with these 2 weight classes per how things break down.
Yeah, that'd be good. So so basically it's the 72 class all over again, right? So it's the 69s against the 76s. It's just the battle. So, throwing Anna back in there with Marta and Kelsey back in there with, so that'll be cool. That'll be a fun one for sure. That grouping.
Yeah. The other thing I guess I was going to say is like, as far as the prop bets, like, we might do good now because we might, win on this one. And then we have this split here.
Yeah.
And then this one, we'll see. I'm not sure.
I mean, listen, the amount of butts coming up in this meet, something's going on with these benches, bro. I'm telling you, like like we said it before, like is getting, these benches are getting overturned left and right for butts coming up and stuff like that. And
that butt gate.
Yeah, butt gate.
Or Joe Whiteley says in the commentary something about like the butt light is unforgiving because they have that little light flashing, so you can clearly see when someone's butt goes up and like blinds you.
The butt light takes no prisoners, right? That's what it was.
The only time I didn't see it flashing was like it happened to be like the spotter like didn't move a certain way where they're blocking it, but yeah, other times you can like clearly see the light come through. And it's like, oh man. And then also they have the butt replay light camera, and the jury has pretty much at every championship the jury has the screen, and I think they're changing the rule more to use the screen for instant replay and stuff like that, so then they can easily just watch the instant replay, be like, oh, butts up, we're overturning it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, it sucks if have you ever had a lift overturned before?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've never had one overturned before, but I couldn't imagine. I'd be pissed if I was like, oh, yeah, I hit a PR. And they're like, oh, sorry, it's overturned by the jury. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, that would make me angry. I mean, but I guess it's fair. It's fair, right? I mean, like, clearly is if they're overturning it, it's pretty clear that it's a bad lift or a good lift the other way. So
I was going to say, depending on some of these venues, because like these days, sometimes they go 2 platforms for Worlds, and sometimes you're on a stage and it's tight. Like when I took my Cat 2 in Canada, it was like on the right side, I was on platform 2. So on the right side, it's the end of the stage and it gets cut off the scoring. So you can only go so far back away from the platform. And then on the left side, it was the scoring, like the actual scoreboard right there. And then the coach's box. So I'm like right there underneath the TV in the coach's box, getting like chalk and baby powder, trying to get back far enough so you have a good view to see the butt come up. Because if you're too close, you can't see the butt come up. So in those cases where like the venue is tight and maybe the referees are in a bad spot, they can't see the butt come up, it's great to have the jury maybe at a lower level or with the video to be like, hey, listen, the butt was up, like we have to overturn this.
And have they been doing a 5-man jury at this, or 5-person jury?
They haven't been showing the jury, but the referee sheet does show a 5-person jury for every single session.
So when there's a 3-person jury, it has to be unanimous to overturn. But when it's a 5-person, it has to be 3-2, correct?
Yeah, it should be majority, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I guess they usually don't do 5-person juries except for sometimes like this World Games qualifier or at the actual
Right.
let me see if I can pull it up real quick, but that's what I remember, and that's what you remember.
Yes, I mean, having a 5-man jury, 5-person jury is just more advantageous. Well, I guess maybe not, because then it depends on which way you want the thing to go. Because then it's only 3 of the 5 instead of just all of them have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, and with each jury depends too, like who's chief of the jury, and sometimes like what's the first discussion? Is like the discussion like for the lift or against the lift, because then it kind of gets in everyone's mind like, oh, the other jury members are going against the lift. Maybe I should go against the lift as well.
Right. Yeah.
So here's the jury part. 5-man jury can be only at World Games or men's and women's open championships. So I guess they do have a limit on that.
Okay.
And then, yeah, with majority vote with 5 jury members to reverse the decision.
Yeah, get that money out of your pocket. Go to the jury, kids.
Hey. They're like, it's a 5-person jury. You have to pay us extra because I think we forgot to go over with the confidence points too. How I'm up 10, and
you're done. Yeah,
there's no way to catch up because you're gonna maybe gain 1 point or 2 points at most if everyone else gets zeros.
Yeah.
So it looks like
yeah.
So I won the confidence points. The draft, which is the main one, is still up in the air, and then the prop bets, which is the least one, still up in the air because of JK.
So who are you worried the most about in your in the draft here?
Who am I most worried about? I mean, I guess initially I was going to say JK.
Yeah. Yeah, I think your 84 plus and your 120 plus are high probability to score a lot of points or very, very, very 0 points.
Who are you most worried about? 120 plus and 105.
I'm just gonna pick all the Ukrainians I pick now. It's been a rough week.
Ruben's going to tear his hand open on his opener.
I think Stin will be all right. I mean, Rubitz will be fine. For as far as bombing out, I don't believe that'll happen. Ian will be all right. Ilya will be all right. Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I mean, I don't think I'll have any more. You can't say that, right? But like, I feel like they're all in good positions to score a lot of points. It's just a matter of they score more than your guys. That's all. Oh yeah, maybe you have a Melnick there on the 84, so that could be the deciding factor. That could be a 12-point swing right there, baby.
Yeah. Let's see what the schedule's like for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think actually it's just men tomorrow. It's just 105 and 120s.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like these some of these smaller sessions, like day one you have an opening ceremony, then you start in the afternoon, like nice and relaxed, you're done early and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even these longer days, like you're doing weigh-ins at 9 a.m., not 7 a.m. And then you got these sessions in there where it's like just a half a day, just get a couple of weight classes in.
Nice.
And I guess they decide to sleep in and go later. Maybe they have like EC meeting or something like that beforehand, because you start at 12 and you end at 8 o'clock, 8:30.
Well, I think that's the good thing about having that extra weight class on the opening ceremony day, is that you kind of have that wiggle room in the middle that you can have those 2 days of like 2 weight classes, right?
Yeah. I wonder
But I
if
guess
they're doing. I was gonna say, I wonder if they're doing a banquet or not, because then they made the last day like a long day.
yeah. Plus, it's the cool because of the Eurosport thing for sure. But I guess tomorrow is what 12 o'clock there. So was that 6 a.m. for the Eastern Standard?
Yeah, it'll be 6 Eastern for us, and then I mean, at least this one will be
What,
what's that?
11 o'clock?
11
Yeah,
a.m. Yeah,
that'll be good. I mean, the 120 should be fun to watch for sure. There's three shooters in that one.
3 shooters.
But yeah, real quick, hop over to the men's team points real quick.
Oh yeah, we can go over team points as well.
Yeah, real quick, just to see what that's looking like. Russia has three winners already. Yeah, I mean so unless Ukraine wins out the last 3 slots, I think this is pretty much over and done with.
Yeah, because then even then you're like tied, and you got to go to points if Russia doesn't have anyone to improve. Like if Konovalov doesn't get some extra points.
Yeah, him or the 120 lifter. I can't think of his name. But yeah, so with those two, they should be in decent position to at least get a second place there in one of those to lock in the team points.
What
And
about our
Poland's
boys? What
yeah.
about our boys, baby?
So let's see. We got Ian. So let's give them 12 there for that. Dobbins sneaks into third place, let's say. So go there. Yeah, I mean, they could get on the podium.
What about Joe Cap?
Yeah, so no, I'm saying, but yeah, then add in Joe at the end. I wasn't taking him out. I was just saying, like, even with just those two, they could definitely get onto the podium. Looks like so.
What if Egypt jumps up to 9th place?
Egypt?
Yeah, Ahmed.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I was like, I don't even see him on there. Yeah, right. Yeah, 12. That'd be good.
500 kilo squat, baby. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I doubt Ukraine's going to catch them, so it looks like it's going to be Russia, Ukraine. But it'd be interesting to see if USVI jumps into third, and then
I think so
best
because
lift.
I don't know who Poland has left, but I think USVI has enough left that they'll hop into third place for sure. Yes, minus any bomb outs, of course.
I'll pull it up real quick.
Yeah, no, Mr. Deadlift on those score sheets there. So,
I got this guy 1 point.
It's at 1 point. Now, who knows? Maybe he ends up in third. We get a couple bomb outs. Yeah, so it looks like USVI could be a lock for that at least third spot. And who knows?
Look at this 109, 109.1, 109.2.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah.
Ukraine sucking it up.
That's funny. Yeah, just flip over to the women real quick. Okay.
Okay, look at that. All the way down to 6. Still in there.
Yes, I mean if we play the game, if Bonica would have switched over, guess what?
Guess what?
Gold medal.
Who does Russia still have left?
I know Daria and the supers. So they got a good shot there. 76 is win already, yeah. So yeah.
You got to get like maybe a third or fourth here, and then maybe you get like a first here and like a third or fourth here.
Yeah, it'll come down to some closeness there for sure. It'll be good.
Let's see who Germany has left.
Germany, good for that's awesome. I mean, like, you never see them on the podium, so that's awesome that they're even fighting for that spot, which is cool.
And then USVI.
But they're done too. They already had their 5 lifters.
Who's that?
As in Germany had 5 lifters listed, so like they can only improve a little bit on that, as opposed to like Brazil, who only has 3 lifters listed. You know what I mean? So if they had anybody.
They don't have anybody anyway. It doesn't matter. And I can compete against 84.
Right, they had 2 winners, man.
And then Poland, we went over, right?
Yeah, Poland's got,
Um,
but
so
Norway has a
Norway,
favorite.
yeah. Oh, Norway's got 5.
So you can add 12 and a maybe a third place there or a second place, and so and 21 minus 6. Look at Norway could pop in there pretty good. So we'll see. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
And then best lifter, 108, 110, 111.
Oh, Taylor, oh, look at that. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think anyone's taken Corolla's spot on that. I don't think.
I was like, I don't know how the 84 points work on the equip side.
That's right. Yeah, it's different. I know that's they're good on the classic side.
110.6.
Oh, okay, so if she puts up a PR, she got a shot.
Yeah, maybe could even sneak in over Anna.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. I like it.
Let's see if there's anyone
Yulia.
else.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing them right there. 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah. It's pretty good. And then of course, number 2 on that list bombed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. Some good lifting left to go. And again, we'll see how they kind of split up the super heavyweight men and super heavyweight female classes for that B flight. Because it looks like it's going to be, if everyone shows, but they haven't showed up, right? Sierra Leone. So
Yeah.
it'll be 11 women again. So it'll be basically 3 women. And then how many men are there?
I was like trying to see what the split is. Like maybe they can split 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Right. But then you're leaving 6 is rough too. I mean, for your A flight.
7, yeah. But it depends on their timing too.
Yeah.
They may like 7.
Yeah. And men's 11.
No, Sierra Leone.
Right. Yeah. So luckily, it looks like everyone might show up. So, yeah, again, it might be 7 and 7 or 8 and 8. So, like, I mean, poor Ray Bowering might go all the way over there and get into the B flight.
I mean, he can still get maybe some sub junior or I guess junior records, but yeah, this one's a little bit harder to cut with all these lifters similar. So this
Yeah.
like, oh, do you cut it at Ahmed and go like 6 and 5?
Right.
But again, it depends on whether they want like 7 and 6 in the Eurosport or if they want more in there.
And at least earlier when it was the 63s and the 83s, like the women had a break, but the men had enough men that they did a full flight kind of thing in the B flight. But this looks like it's going to be 3 and 3 or 4 and 4. So there's going to be time off. There's going to be a lot of dead air during that session, which is brutal. And especially for the heavyweights too. It's like, come on.
Yeah, and some big weights too, like your 400, 407, 435 with like no breaks.
Right. I also love the Great Britain too. So you got Sonny Sahota there, 1983. So he's close to being a master, and then you have Ray at 2002. So it's like Sonny was 19 years old when Ray was born. For God's sake. So
you got 78 here, 79 here.
I just mean even just on the Great Britain team, right? Just the two of them together, like it's basically Sonny has been lifting with Ray's dad Dean for years, and then now he's on the same team as the kid he probably knew when he was born. For God's sakes, Novalov.
Let's see how he does. I mean, Anna produced. Maybe Andre will produce.
Yeah, I mean this could be. The heavyweights are always so interesting because it's like.
I was gonna say, Ukraine, man, your boy.
But I mean, legitimately, like if one of the top 6 won, I wouldn't be surprised, just because like anything can happen with these heavyweights. Like I've seen it before, where it's like 3 guys bomb on squat, 2 bomb on bench press, and all of a sudden Ahmed's sitting there like, hey guys, I'm ready to go. Let's go, baby.
Uh, Imagine like Joe Cap some point. They were like joking about like when he went to USVI, like he's gonna come with his hair braided. Imagine like shows
Oh
up,
my God.
puts up like 1175 or 1200, and
Yeah,
like
that'd be
a
great.
couple guys bomb out, and he's the king.
Could you imagine if one of the guys from the B flight wins in this? Like it's not even on TV. It's like, oh, by the way, Florin Lupas just won from Romania. Is the champ.
Yeah, Eurosport's like, I think we're done with this sport.
So that Florin Lupas guy, right? He looks. Click on him real quick and see who you think he looks like.
Kevin Yeager.
He does look like Jaeger too, but he looks a little bit like Bill Kazmaier when you see him actually in person, like lifting. I guess this is a little bit older, a photo, whatever. But because he usually has like the full beard or whatever, so you'll see the commentators are like, "Oh, it looks like Bill Kazmaier Jr." He call him basically, but he does look like Kevin Yeager. You're right. That's pretty good. Jaeger bomb.
Jaeger bombs.
Oh, and
Well,
then my buddy Christian there from Netherlands, the 6'8", 6'9" giant lifting there in the 120s. He's been a raw and equipped lifter. I think he's actually one of like Shako's actual clients or whatever. But the dude he's enormous. I mean, he literally looks like some sort of like
Viking.
something you would have seen out of like Game of Thrones or something like that.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, some guy living north of the wall kind of deal. Massive dude. Yeah, he's literally like 6'8", 6'9", something like that. Like the racks are the highest rack height is still too low for him to squat out of, but he just makes do with it, obviously. But yeah, he's a massive dude. So yeah, this should be a fun day tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Good to go. And then maybe we'll hop on Saturday or Sunday, something like that. And we'll do the final recap, and you can say congratulations, Bill, for taking it home again.
I was gonna say, do you want to do the final recap? But caveat: tomorrow I gotta drive to Orlando,
Oh
work
yeah,
at
okay.
the Special Olympics meet, come back on Sunday. So maybe we gotta do it like on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, it works for me. You just let me know when you're free. As long as I put the kids to bed after 8:30, I'm good to go. So
Kids go to bed, Bill comes to party.
that's right. Powerlifting after dark, baby.
All right, I guess we'll stop it there. We'll see how this final weight classes go, and then we'll see if we can do final recap Monday or Tuesday. See who's the winner.
Recap with the Joe Cap Championship coming up, baby.
Recap with the Joe Cap and braids. Ready to go. World Games, USVI, baby.
I saw the team photo. It's very surreal seeing them in like just a completely different country's uniform, right? It's really, really strange. After seeing so many years of the red, white, and blue, they have the USVI. It's interesting.
It's funny. They have like their team photo like in the grass. There's like some trees in the background. There's like some building behind the trees. I'm like, are they doing it in front of someone's house? Like, screw it. Let's just take a photo here.
They went to Marta's house and they're doing photos.
Yeah.
Man.
All right, we're getting close to 2 hours, so we'll end it there. I'm going to go find some food to eat before bed. Thank you all for watching, and we'll be back for the final recap next week.
See you later.